Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we take a love for movies and television and combine it with very little knowledge about movies and television. I'm your host, Christian. Joined with me are my co-hosts, Jay Hugh.
What's up?
Joseph.
Yellow.
Ian.
What's up, guys? You're getting good at that intro.
We're going to do it. We've all finally seen Us, and I think we're just going to talk about it. We have thoughts and feelings.
I think so.
Jordan Peele's latest effort, his follow-up to Get Out. Oh, shit, I forgot. I watched Twilight Zone. I watched the first episode of Twilight Zone.
Is that out? Oh,
You
yeah.
can watch the first episode for free on YouTube.
All right, real quick, is it good or not? Because I'm curious.
I didn't love it.
I've heard not good things
That's
about
what I've
it.
heard too. Not good
okay.
things. Okay. What's the first one with Adam Scott?
No, it's Kumail Nanjiani.
Oh, okay.
He's a comedian, and essentially whatever he tells a joke about, he loses. So, like, he tells a joke about his nephew, and then he comes home and he has no nephew. He's the only person that can remember it. He tells a joke about, like, his girlfriend's, like, mentor, and comes home and there's no more mentor, so doesn't have a job anymore. And it's okay. It's not like
Something you'd buy CBS for?
no, I'm definitely not going to do that,
Yeah.
and it's definitely worse than Black Mirror. But none of that is Us.
Despite the fact that Us could very well just be a long Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, and it would be better than what I've saw so far. Stars Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Elizabeth Moss.
Yep.
That was the only.
That's all.
Tim
famous
Heidecker.
people.
Yeah.
Tim Heidecker. This movie's about murderous doppelgangers.
Yep.
What did everybody think?
I like this movie, but I think I said in the last one, I really think it was a mistake letting you know that doppelgangers were the thing in it. Because the twist of the doppelgangers is handled way better in the movie than the twist that they keep secret, which is not handled well at all.
That's fair.
It was very apparent to me early on what
Yes.
the twist of the movie was.
We
Everyone-
talked
I mean,
about this.
yeah.
It's not just that it's apparent. The third scene, they tell you what
Yeah.
the twist is.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of those things that it was so obvious, I was like, well, that can't really be that because it's so fucking obvious.
And I also didn't like how, because I actually watched this again with a friend this week, and the fucking opening credits, it says there's a million tunnels under the America.
Yeah.
You should not have said that.
Why is that even in there?
Because the other thing is, like, as soon as you see the doppelganger, you know, it's from these fucking tunnels.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it could have been from an alternate dimension. Like, there was no point in putting that in the opening crawl.
Right. No, I totally agree.
I hated that.
But you know what I mean, though? When they first sit down on that couch and you see them, it's so fucked up and weird. It would have been better to not know that was coming.
No, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think
go ahead.
that's a phenomenal point because without that scene, there's really no context as to first off, you don't know what they are. You just see them in the shadows, and then you slowly start to see creep out of the shadows like some familiarity. But then, yeah, you're right. If you didn't have that scene, if you didn't have that information, it would have been much more bizarre because it could have been any direction, any sci-fi or fantasy or any fucking thing.
I think you should have started the movie with them driving to the beach house and listening to I Got Five on it. Take off the whole thing with her as a little kid, the rabbit scene in the beginning where they tell the tunnels. I would have liked that movie a lot more.
I actually really like this movie. I came up with a pretty positive opinion. It didn't bug me because I turned to Joseph 4 minutes in. I was like, oh, this is what it is.
Right.
And I think also because since you guys had seen it, we knew to be looking for it to be apparent.
And to me, I think that actually helped because I also enjoyed it, but I had tempered expectations about a final twist.
Right.
And so definitely with me knowing that that's not going to land and with me not having that expectation that there should be something that lands there, I think it's fine. I think it is better without that, or if you just did it earlier in the movie with less of a kind of a big drop moment.
One thing I do think that I actually kind of like that it's so apparent is that it makes character choices make a lot of sense. Like why she would handcuff her to the table and why they don't handcuff anybody else. So it's just to me, if I didn't know that or I didn't see that very early on, I'd be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why aren't they doing it to everybody? But I get it.
Yeah.
The scares and the laughs really land in it, though.
It is funny, man.
Yeah, it's a funny movie, and you feel a real genuine, oh shit, some bad shit's about to go down. I tell you one thing I also didn't like, too much movie psycho face. Too much smiling and big wide eyes. I'm not scared of that.
My favorite one on an alternate perspective is what is his name? Taylor Heidecker? Something?
Tim Heidecker.
Tim Heidecker. Decker? Heidecker?
I think Heidecker.
I'm fucking it up.
Yeah.
Tim Heidecker. That's my clean take. When you meet his evil doppelganger, I like the fact that he is also a goofy white guy.
Right.
version of the evil doppelganger.
Right.
Everything with him and Winston Duke in it played perfect for me.
No, everything with him and Elizabeth Moss.
Oh yeah, Elizabeth
were phenomenal.
Moss. Yeah.
Elizabeth Moss was the most scary of the doppelgangers. Like she was genuinely frightening.
Elizabeth Moss was the most scary of the humans.
We were watching it, and I was like, "Is it weird that I want her to play the Joker now?" Because I feel like she'd be a really great Joker.
Yeah.
I would have liked the movie. Like, I thought the best part is when they're in the house and the family first comes up. I didn't like how it turned kind of sci-fi and it got bigger and that everyone had a doppelganger and they all were coming out. That's where I kind of lost me.
See,
I would have liked it if they would have made it smaller. You know what I mean? That's where I think that's what turned me off to the movie.
I can agree and disagree with you on it because I know what you're saying, and I definitely think the movie gets lost in its own mythology in the sense that I think like the more you try and like unravel what's going on, the more it unravels.
Yes, the less sense it makes.
Yeah, but I actually, the thing I liked about that particular aspect is that a lot of the times in these situations and kind of like, you know, your cabin in the woods situations, if you make it to daybreak and you make it to the car, you're safe.
Right.
Whereas in this case, you make it to daybreak, you make it to the car, oh no, the whole world's fucked. It's not just your cabin in the woods. And I kind of liked that aspect of it, but I also see where you're coming from.
Well, here's the thing about it that, I think I don't really pick apart a lot of the things that don't work about it because, you know, making sense and stuff, because I think it's all symbolic. I don't think there's
100%.
any... Like Get Out was a horror movie that had this underlying message and was symbolic. But if you took the symbolic thing out completely, it still works as a movie. You could switch the race or the gender of every person in that movie and it would still work as just like a body horror movie. That's not necessarily true of this one. Without the point, there's no movie.
For sure, Us works based upon the point he's trying to make.
Right.
Like, that's the main character.
And I don't think it tries to be anything but that. It doesn't try to make sense.
And that's actually my criticism of it, and it's actually my criticism of Get Out also, is that it's a movie that's built on its satire element, and it's more the satire than it is the horror. And with, you know, like we're saying, without that element to it, it's an okay horror movie. I just feel like if you're gonna do that, you should make the structure, like you should make the movie first, and then make the things you're trying to say with the movie second. But
maybe I feel like this movie talks a lot, of course, about like nature versus nurture, privilege. So just take like the privilege example. I think it's a really good. You could take a person who doesn't understand the concept of white privilege. You take them into that movie. You can have a conversation afterwards about it, and now you have a perfect example or analogy to compare it to.
See, I would have liked it. I think he tried to over-explain too much, and like you said, the more he kind of
it's a little heavy-handed.
The more he explains, the more the story unravels. Like, you know, it's a government experiment that went wrong, and they're cloning people, and there's kept it more vague, and I would have gotten the symbolism more. You know
I definitely.
If it had just been the only explanation was the two bodies, one soul, I think that would work.
Exactly.
Well,
see,
I
agree.
I think one good thing is I think you can get multiple things from it. I got a different thing than privilege. I got that it was all about consumerism. It was all about when you buy something, when you purchase something, someone else had to suffer for that. Someone else, you know.
Well, I was going to say hold on to that because I have a whole thing about interpretations we might go into later, but I want to hear more about that.
I will say this: Lupita Nyong'o is freaking
She's
incredible
great in both parts. Yeah. I really feel like she her as both her and her doppelganger.
So, what do you guys think? Do you think Jason knew it was she was a doppelganger?
Definitely. Now, there's theories I've read. Because I was so disappointed with this ending. I read some theories. Now, there is a lot of theories going around that Jason is a doppelganger.
Yeah.
At the end. And there's some stuff that gives credence to that. Like, they talk at one point that there was a fire before that he started. And that's saying that maybe that the burn Jason got switched at that point. And, like, also in the beach, like, the Jason that could be the doppelganger builds a sand tunnel instead of a sand castle on the beach. Right. There's more to that. I forget. You could look it up. So
it's a bit thin, but
it doesn't fully flesh out. It's probably not true. But I wanted something more because, like you said, you guys had tepid expectations on the ending. I think that makes you like the movie a little more.
I definitely think that's true. And that reminded me because I'm reading about it, because that's what I did today. I was reading other people's reactions, interpretations, things that were going on. I'm wondering if Jordan Peele and these type of movies are like specifically tailor-made for the internet age. Because, again, I don't feel like on a substantial level of just being a horror movie, it's okay. It's not great. I don't think it's that memorable. But it is a lot of fun to talk about and deconstruct and do all that kind of stuff. So I wonder if I wonder if this kind of movie would have been successful 30 years ago, or if it's specifically good for,
No, people are just generally more racist 30 years ago, I think. So.
I mean, that's fair. But I just wonder if it's specifically better for the age where we have all we're reading all the articles and we're breaking down the different societal implications and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, it's like it's like Lost.
He was so excited to say that.
But just because I know that half the table hates it and half the table loves it. But at least 50% of the fun of Lost was deconstructing every episode at the end of the episode. Yep. And I think the vague aspects of that really leans into that, and I think that's part of why it's really fun.
Yep, I would agree with that.
I would say it's better than Transformers. I probably could watch it again today. I really enjoyed it, and I would gladly watch it again.
Yeah, I'll say it's better than Transformers. Just I would also watch it again. I would want to watch it at least one more time just to see if I catch more things the second time. I felt this way about Get Out. I think it's more of an intellectual movie than it is an actual good horror movie, but I still think it's better than Transformers.
I'm going better than Transformers too. I want to watch it again. I mean, even the stuff that I didn't like about it kind of makes me want to watch it again. Yeah,
using the metric, as Hurt would say correctly, I would say it's better than 50% of them. It's but not much better. Like I said, I don't really like horror movies either, so that's also working against it. But
how many people have watched horror movies with Joseph? Because I've seen 2 in the last 12 months, and it's highly entertaining.
What, do you jump a lot?
I'm a big coward.
He sits there holding his face the whole movie.
And if something scary is about to happen, I stick my fingers on my ears because it's a lot of it is the auditory jump.
A Quiet Place, he sat almost the entire movie with the fingers in his ears, which you can get away with because it's all sign. But
see, I also hate fucking horror movies. I just hate them. I hate horror movie people. This comes from my time of working at a video store, and just worst people on earth were the people renting horror videos.
Also, the people that go to movies opening night of like the 10 o'clock Thursday horror movie people are the worst fucking people.
But I liked it.
I would say it's right on the line for me. Like I said, I didn't really like it, but it's not a bad movie. It's just I was disappointed because I had high expectations because I like Get Out so much.
Right.
The ending kind of pissed me off, and like I said, it doesn't make sense if you really start to think about it.
No, absolutely
but
not.
I can see where I wish he would have kept more of that stuff vague because the symbolism, you're right, is what works. With
Absolutely,
yeah.
So, I mean, we can break into spoilers, but is there anything we want to talk about before we just break into like the themes and the symbolism and all that kind of stuff?
I don't want to break down logic too much. I really did struggle logically how it would work.
No, absolutely.
At some moments you can control your doppelganger, and some moments you can't. By
the way, we've already broken into spoilers because we already talked about whether or not Jason's a doppelganger.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And if he realizes his mom is.
Yeah. My biggest problem, and I said this as soon as it happened, is, well, first off, why isn't there more rabbit shit in the tunnels?
Rabbit shit everywhere.
And then it made me think, are the fucking doppelgangers potty trained?
Yeah.
So why isn't there more human shit?
Yeah. Well, because you would go sit on a toilet, and they also would go sit
Where would they go find out? Where's the fucking toilet?
I didn't see a toilet in there, but
maybe that's why we get to be in charge because we have to do all the pooping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's an upside and a downside.
That's part of a soul is the poop.
Yeah, we get the crap half of the soul.
I thought it had good. I love the music. That's one of the things.
Oh, the music is so good.
Like the way, especially when Elizabeth Moss is getting killed.
Yeah.
The "fuck the police" thing and the Beach Boys song.
Everything's good about it.
But the score is terrifying.
Oh yeah,
and
I Got 5 on a song. The way they slow it down.
Yeah, exactly. They weave in the "I Got 5 on it" into the actual score, into the rest of the horror movie, which is
really
very
good.
Clever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk about some of those. Most of the themes are specifically related to this duality. That's the important part of a doppelganger movie. Everything's like two parts of a whole. There's a lot of 11s. There's a lot of 11-11.
Well, it's Jeremiah
11-11. But I mean, also that they have the black flag logo, which is symmetrical. There's a lot of symmetry things.
I didn't even think about the black flag logo also being the 11s. That's
the fact that they use the scissors as their weapon of choice, which is two halves of a things that are connected at a single point that are act in symmetry.
didn't get that one.
And then the "I Got 5 on It" song is specifically like the song is about putting in $5 toward a dime bag to split it with somebody else.
Yep.
So it's, again, two halves of the same whole, which, again, it's clever just to have that song, but it's more clever, I feel like, to use the inherent creepy aspects of that song in the score. Any other ones that we skipped out on?
Not that come to mind.
Not for doppelganger stuff. Like, I know that there's a lot of Michael Jackson references.
Well, the single glove.
Glove. She's wearing a Thriller shirt. So,
Yep.
there's a lot of references to Michael. I don't know exactly what that means, but he must like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, well, no, because she comes down in the first place in the Thriller shirt, so she clearly is aware of like Thriller Michael Jackson, and presumptively she is the one that gave them the fucking gloves and the clothes. And
Red's whole thing, right, as the leader or whatever, everything she does is almost inspired by the time period in which she left the world. So the hands that hold the world, the Michael Jackson stuff, that's all just reinforcing the twist, which is she's the real one.
Right. Yep. So just random trivia things that I thought were really interesting. Just because I didn't notice it the first time, or I didn't really pick up on it. The homeless guy that was the first victim that you see on the beach again, I was just like, okay, this is the first doppelganger. But he's also the first guy in the chain that I just didn't pick up on. So he killed his dude, and then he goes and he waits in line, and he's got the bloody hand where he murdered the guy.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, which also bothered me because if that's their fucking purpose, then why are they killing other people? I know that we're breaking down the logic again, but like the ones that killed Elizabeth Moss and stuff, they seem to keen on killing other folks when they already fulfilled their purpose. They should get back in the.
That was one of the few times where I was like, they should have been totally fine in that house. Like it didn't make sense to me.
It does. I don't
unless simply because Red wanted them dead and Red was the one in charge.
Yeah, but they would. I guess I don't know. Maybe you're right. And then the only other interesting one that I thought was really cool that I didn't realize what it was like meaning, but I noticed it throughout is that kind of like a Die Hard movie. Adelaide, who's Lupita's character, the main the main character one, is wearing like a white outfit the whole time that continues to like she gets more bloody as time goes on and it gets more red, which is supposed to be indicating her actual like where she actually comes from, that she's the doppelganger, which I thought is also really kind of a neat little nod. As the movie goes on, I didn't notice it the first time around.
I also like that Jason, the kid's doing the magic trick the whole time.
Yeah,
and the fire doesn't work. But the implication is by the downstairs guy being burned, that every time he does it, it's working down there.
Oh, yeah.
And he's getting burned in the face.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
This is nothing to do with the themes or anything, but just one thing that since we're in spoilers. As soon as I saw Tim Heidecker was in it, I was so excited about him dying. Because I've just always hated Tim and Eric. I just never enjoyed that show. It's like, thank God, I'm finally going to get to see Tim Heidecker die. And it was really disappointing that Tim Heidecker killed Tim Heidecker.
Yeah, well.
Like, that was not fun.
Just general theories and things that are complaining. We talked about the Thriller, the Michael Jackson thing, and the other one is there's definitely with the White Rabbits kind of an Alice in Wonderland feel, especially once she goes through the door and the downstairs, kind of like going down the rabbit hole. The ones that I have here are just kind of ones that I picked up and ones that haven't really fleshed out. The first one is just kind of about just doppelganger identity. I know definitely like the tagline of the movie is going for like, you're your own worst enemy kind of thing. And maybe there's something there kind of about like sacrificing like personal identity for, communally acceptable identity, like what's societally acceptable. But I wasn't sure if that's really a thing. That felt kind of thin to me, but I kind of wanted to pass it out to you guys to see how it's rung to you.
I didn't really get that out of that, but I could see it, I guess.
The next one is kind of the one that you were talking about, the class theory, which is the one that I feel like most people land pretty heavily on. That very much is representing kind of like accident of birth. You end up on the top half, you're in the privileged area, everything's great. You end up being the other doppelganger.
Like that documentary you watched about the triplets.
Yeah, no, it is actually. It's actually a lot like that, but fucking less terrifying. It wasn't real.
What really, I think, the best line in the movie that hits that notion is, Adelaide and Red are talking, and Red is talking about, you did all these things, and then I also did the same things. You can look at freedoms and say, oh, we all have the same freedoms, but one person grew up with the sky, and one person grew up underground. And so, and Red says that. What was it like to grow, what was it like to be you growing up with the sky? Like, that's such a powerful line to really explain, like, what privilege is.
Yeah.
Like, it may look like everything is fair, normal, and equal, but there's just something different you have to wrap your mind on. So that's why I think like the point of the movie is the themes.
No, absolutely.
Well, and the thing that really got me on the I think it's about consumerism thing is when the dad is sort of envious of white dad. And and he wants like the boat and stuff, and it all seems very harmless. But the things these guys are doing in their life is harming these people that they've never seen before and they don't even think about. And maybe even there's a little immigration thing in there. Like the reason that these people need to get in is because we have the better shit. And in a lot of ways, they just want the consumer stuff too. They do, and they're willing to kill for it and stuff. But what made them like this was being at the bottom of that chain.
They don't want the rabbit; they want the good food.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the hands that hold the world was also a really intentional thing to me because it divides the country north and south,
right?
And like it was maybe a little heavy handed, but I thought it was a good use to take a thing everyone knows and create this symbol.
Why were some of the guys in the line white? Did you notice that when they were showing the big line, it was all red jumpsuits, but like every 10 or 12th month, there'd be one guy who was in white.
I didn't notice
see that.
Yeah. I did notice, didn't some of them put on the clothes of the people that they murdered after they murdered them?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's it then.
Yeah.
But also on the same kind of class theory related one, the Itsy Bitsy Spider song kind of reminded me, the whole thing about Itsy Bitsy Spider is he trying to climb up the spout and keeps getting washed back down.
Yep.
Good choice.
Right.
The only other one that I saw today, it's a great Vulture article, and I'm going to link it whenever we publish this episode, about how it's kind of a more specific example of the class theory. It's like native appropriation, which goes back to, it was a throwaway thing that I said to you while we were watching it about how in
the Merlin thing?
in the 1980s the Hall of Mirrors where they go in is called, it's like the Shaman's Vision Quest, and it's it's Native American themed, whereas later it's
like Merlin's
Merlin's
Enchanted
Mirror
Forest.
Quest, something like that, which I thought was just like, oh yeah, this is like the more 2019 appropriate thing, but it is specifically like that is where they come from, that is where they're required to be, and it gets kind of turned into the white European version. They're represented, the doppelganger people are represented as kind of savages. They behave very differently. They have a language that you don't understand. It seems very savage. They what's her face? Even Lupita, who's the leader, speaks in kind of a broken English. It's kind of got the dualism of like having a native self, something that's true to you and your people and your heritage, versus the white European, whatever societal norm self. They're specifically relegated to a created government facility where they have to live. And then the one line in the whole movie that really bugged me because it felt so out of place was when I think it's Lupita asked them, "What are you?" And she says, "We're Americans." That was the one I was really bothering me the whole time.
I feel like there was a point there that I didn't get.
That's kind of what I was thinking. That's why I kept trying to find one that I felt like fit the most. And I just think this, I don't know if this was the intention, but there are so many things
it does make sense.
That lean that direction. And I just thought that was really, really interesting.
This is completely unrelated with all the deep crap you're talking about right now. My favorite clue that she was one of the tethered was her snapping on the upbeats. Not just specifically out of time, but she's snapping on the and counts of the measure. She's going,
because that was really bothering me, but I didn't even put that together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I'm a drummer.
Well, you're right. one of the things, since we got off the deep stuff for a second, one of the things with the twist that I called it, but then it kind of talked me out of it, was as soon as I saw the scene where, it's like it's not even our girl, it's like Jordan Peele's scripts, his screenplays seem really screenplay-y. Like, everything has a point that's fulfilled later. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, so that's definitely not going to be the girl. But then when they talked about the flares in the boat, and he gets in the boat, trying to avoid evil Tim Heidecker, I was like, okay, well, he's going to use the fucking flare gun to kill him.
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't work, I was like, okay, well, maybe this is going to switch it up on me. Maybe she isn't the doppelganger. Didn't switch it up.
Yeah.
I like that they went back to the flare bit.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
No, that was one of my favorite bits because it totally fooled me.
That bit and Winston Duke getting ready to have sex on the bed. She's confessing this horrible thing.
I love Winston Duke is every
great.
dad.
Yeah,
he is
great.
every single dad.
The best is when she's talking about the mirror girl. He's, well, I'm pretty sure I can kick your ass, so if she looks like you, I think I'll be all right.
Oh, God.
He's like, okay, not funny.
Yeah.
Another key that she's tethered is when she's talking to Elizabeth Moss, and like she's like, I have trouble talking. And like, you know, at first I was thinking like, well, she just doesn't like to talk to people, but she like literally probably has trouble like speaking because she's like, you know, doppelganger person.
Yeah, I thought she was just being a bitch at that point. But apparently it was a clue.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't really want to talk to that Elizabeth Moss either.
Vodka clock.
Vodka clock. Yeah, this is one of the more like serious attempts that we've made at an actual like movie analysis.
Right.
I'm not sure I like it, but I personally, I was in reading about it, I thought it was really interesting.
I enjoyed talking about this movie.
Yeah, my hope is that somebody else listening who watched it, who's also trying to like unscramble what it means, would at least like latch on to, oh yeah, this makes sense to me or something. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to take a second now that we've all seen it.
I appreciate it. It's good time.
I read Black Manta's the dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
is weird because he seems like he can act in this, and he could not act as Black Manta.
Shows Jordan Peele
also hardly show his face.
That dude's got an incredible figure.
Yeah.
I kept thinking that the whole time. He's got this like super narrow waist and these giant ass shoulders. Like shit,
Yeah.
that's a man.
Yep. He's like a martial artist, so like he beats people up.
He's pretty good in that. I mean, he's in very little of it, but like, you know, super relaxed dad.
Well, I mean,
I can't win my daughter a stuffed animal.
Drunk kind of shitty
knocking
dad.
back beers.
Yep.
Made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Excellent. So we still have that whole, when we did we're watching, we might be able to put a whole hour episode together out of it. It'll be fine. So yeah, no, I'll just cut it here.
Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we take a love for movies and television, combine it with very little knowledge about movies and television. I'm your host, Christian. Joined with me is Joseph.
Hello.
Ian.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Jehu.
What up?
We're doing a special mini episode because we were off for 2 weeks and we all watched a bunch of shit.
Yep.
And there was too much to put at the end of our episode, which we didn't finish that either. That's going to hang over into next week.
God, we talked too fucking much.
I know. How about bullshit?
Ian, you said you watched Us.
Yeah.
What else did you watch these last 2 weeks?
So I got a puppy, so I've been home for like the last 2 weeks. So I figured I'm going to try. I started watching the MCU. I texted you guys a picture of all the movies.
Yeah.
I got to Incredible Hulk and realized, you know what? I don't really fucking like these movies that much right now, so I stopped.
Weird.
Yeah, Iron Man and Hulk kind of just fucking knocked the wind out of me.
I was gonna forward you that thing about the media company that's paying you like $1,000 to watch them all, and she was like, "Ian's already doing this for no money."
Yeah, so Iron Man though, I don't like that movie. I don't know. I do not like Tony Stark as the main character. He plays better as a supporting character.
I wouldn't say I don't like it, but definitely watching it now is a different experience than watching it when it came out.
It feels small now with the whole everything going on.
Well, and you know, it seemed like it was still from the era of when we were kind of embarrassed of comic book movies being comic.
Yeah, for sure.
And Ed Norton is very uncharismatic as Bruce Banner.
I like that. I like that movie.
I do too.
And Tim
Roth.
Yeah, Tim Roth, he's not a very good. I don't know. He's just evil Hulk. You know what I mean? And that CGI fucking sucks.
I tell you what I like about that movie.
Yeah.
Is every single comic book movie is going to make you watch a romantic subplot, even though they don't give a shit about it making it. The two in the MCU that really worked for me is, of course, Peggy and Cap. I think that's fucking great.
Yeah.
And I think Bruce Banner and Betty work in this movie. I was on board with them. But
I don't like what they do with William Hurt. Like and I'm going to talk about this. I watched Captain Marvel again. I went back to it, and I want to see like Russo brothers made Thunderbolt Ross cooler in Civil War. I think that Doctor Strange in Infinity War, he makes him Doctor Strange cooler than Scott. I want to see what he does with Captain Marvel, because I watched Captain Marvel again, and they don't know how to use. Whoever made that movie did not know how to use their powers. Did not know how to do an action scene. I think the Russo brothers will make her way fucking cooler.
I definitely agree.
So, let me ask you this: since you bailed on this, if you were just going to watch the ones you have to watch before Endgame, which ones would you call on that?
Infinity War, Black Panther, Civil War, Winter Soldier, and Guardians 2. I like Guardians 2 more than Guardians 1, I think. Those would be my five.
Even though you propagate the time travel, you don't think Avengers 1?
No, I know. I mean, that's probably more to the story. You're right, but like I'm talking about the ones I enjoy.
Well, I'm talking about for storyline. I think you got to watch all three Caps.
Yes.
I think even though they may not be ideal for all of it, you got to watch all three Thors, the two Avengers, and the two Guardians.
That's what
I think if you watch those movies, you've got it.
You got to watch the Avengers, but the Thor's what got me off it. I was like, I don't want to sit through Thor 1. So then I was like, I stopped. But yeah, so I don't know. I watched, like I said, I saw Captain Marvel again. You're right, Hurt. The more I watch a movie, the less I like it because
that's just you.
Yeah, I
didn't. That does not reflect on Captain. So I liked it less as a person.
But then I decided to get into Game of Thrones. I thought, so the Battle of Blackwater in season 2 didn't hold up as well. I would say this proves recasting can work because Beric Dondarrion gets recast and he's way better.
Right.
Dario Naharis gets recast.
I kind of like Ed Screen's weird face better.
I did too. I was sad we didn't get to see more of Ed Screen's.
I disagree. I think the recast was way better. That has a lot more charm.
I just think he's really more bland, and I feel like the whole point of Dario Naharis is that he's supposed to be exotic.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. We teach his own. I thought the first 3 seasons I'm through right now. Rob Stark, I don't remember. He's like I think he's the best performer as Richard Madden. He does so.
He is really good.
He's really good.
He goes out early, so I forget about him. But the season 2 episode didn't hit as well. But the Red Wedding Man, that's the one I just watched. Fucking leaves you gut punch,
dude. Reigns of Castamere is like the best song I think.
And the way that they slit her throat at the end, Catelyn Stark, and then they just go no sound.
It's amazing to me you saying this, and it's like how drastically different the first 3 seasons of that show is compared to what we've gotten.
I didn't think I would like it as much because I kind of know where they're going. But Nips is right. They've lost the art of the conversation in the later seasons. It's all payoff. Is just the interactions between like Arya and the Hound. Arya and Gendry.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Jamie
the Hound and everybody.
Jamie's transformation in season 3. Is fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. And the best line is Tyrion. Why can't they make the god of tits and wine? So that was pretty much what I thought. Oh, and then one more thing I wrote is Tywin's opening scene where he's like slitting a boar, and he's just cutting a hog open is like so fucking well done. But that show's great.
No, I think it's a stag because it's supposed to be Robert Baratheon.
Oh right,
maybe you're right. That even makes it better. But he's. God, there's so many
making me want to watch it.
I know. The first 3 seasons, the first 4 seasons are really good.
There's so many standout episodes, and I'm watching it all together, so it's just really good. And then the last thing I watch is I watch Shazam, and I know we'll probably do an episode, so I'm not going to say much. I would say it's good, and I'll put it in my recency bias. I liked it more than Captain Marvel, and I liked it as much as Aquaman.
Ooh.
It's on that same level, and I liked Aquaman. Yeah. It's a smaller movie, but Aquaman's introducing all these realms, but. This is a comedy. It's a comedy with superheroes. What it is? It's big with superheroes.
Yeah.
And the CGI sucks, but Zachary Levi is perfect in that role. And that suit is fucking great. Zachary Levi, did I say it?
Yeah.
I saw it.
You added an R, and I think that's fine.
So, Mark Strong's forgettable, but I hope we do an episode on it because it's fun. And it's all the supporting cast, like the foster home kids, is really good. So that's what I got.
Awesome.
Cool. I, besides starting to watch Farscape, I went back and I was, I'm leaving my job here in a few weeks, and because of that, I'm training somebody to my replacement. She's doing all my work. I have a shit ton of free time. So I started rewatching The X-Files, because I fucking love that show. If you've never watched it, you absolutely should. It holds up really well, I think. I watched the best documentary winner, Free Solo, which is... God, it is. I'm sitting there, and most of the movie is fine. I mean, it's not that crazy, but the last 20 minutes when he's actually, free soloing El Capitan, my palms are just sweating profusely.
That's what everyone says. Their palm sweat specifically.
God, it's terrifying. But it's a gorgeously shot film. There is a cameraman who he's on the ground and he's watching it, and he's got his back turned, and he turns to people and he's like, "You're actually fucking watching him do this? He's going to die, and we're all gonna witness it." And so you feel like that guy. You're like, I can't fucking look. I can't fucking look. It's crazy. Better than Transformers, worth a watch. I watched Triple Frontier.
Yep.
Better than I thought it was gonna be. Not great. But I had very low expectations, so I was decently surprised.
That's exactly where I'm at with you. I'm going to join in with you on this one.
I thought it was better than Transformers.
Agreed.
The cast is pretty good in it. My one real complaint, and spoilers, there is a death in the movie, won't say who. It still kind of feels like there's low risk.
No, for sure.
They pretty much get away with all the shit with one kind of bad thing happening to them. So the stakes felt real low.
It's definitely not sure how serious it wants to be.
Yeah.
I will say, you know what? Ben Affleck looks like he's having a really fun time.
Yep.
I feel like Oscar Isaac's having a fun time. Garrett Hedlund, and Charlie Hunnam are fucking indistinguishable, even when they're fucking sitting next to each other.
They're supposed to play brothers. So
I mean, it makes sense.
I think they both got cast, and they're like, "Fuck, what are we gonna do? Let's make them brothers."
But there are several times when they're sitting next to each other. It's like, wait, which one's the fucking which?
Yeah. I really like Oscar Isaacs in this movie.
Yeah, he's good. I don't like I feel like his character changes dramatically from one part to the other.
Well, we were texting about it, and you had talked about which one was more likable, and I had texted you like, "Fuck, you were wrong." They do a switch at just some random point in the movie.
I realized that Ben Affleck is supposed to be the Andy Reid of heists. Is that he's great in the planning aspect, and then when it comes to execution, he just falls apart. And time management. But yeah, Oscar Isaacs is like kind of like he sleazily like lures them down with the promise of just like, oh, it's a scouting job. But then he's like, no, we're gonna steal the money. And then when they get into it, he's like, oh no, this is too dangerous. Fuck you, man. You did this.
Yeah.
Who's the villain? Is there a villain?
Greed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like consequences of their own actions type thing.
Yeah. And I thought, because I was worried that the movie was going to be what the first 5 minutes of it think it's going to be, which again, Garrett Hedlund or Charlie Hunnam giving a speech about beating a guy to death with his bare hands in a Publix parking lot, and then fucking Oscar Isaacs listening to metal music in a helicopter. And I was like, oh, this is the exact amount of machismo I was expecting this movie to be, and then it just never quite goes back there.
No.
So yeah, it's an odd movie, but I think it's worth a watch. It's amazing to me how much a few scenery changes really like improve a movie
for sure.
Because they have I'd say probably like 6 different big set pieces, and I feel like that really works for making the movie more interesting than it probably actually is.
Do you think they? I mean, I think they set themselves up for a sequel. I don't know that they would ever make it, but
I mean, if you give me another like set of like B-list, male guys of the right age to go on another fucking heist, I'm super down. I'd enjoy it.
How's Pedro Pascal?
Quadruple Frontier.
Oh, I kind of fucking forgot.
No, yeah, he's in this fucking movie.
Yeah, because I know he's like a guy I want to become a thing.
He's forgettable in it.
He has absolutely no personality. And
He doesn't have a point. He doesn't have a purpose.
Only one of these dudes die in this?
Yes.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
What's the point of like a Magnificent Seven, like Dirty Dozen type movie if you don't pick them off?
I mean,
and I'm not even a fan of screen deaths. I find them to be cheap a lot of times.
That's kind of the problem. It just doesn't really have stakes. Like they do this highly dangerous thing, and then they basically get away with it. And there's little consequence. The Pedro Pascal thing's really confusing because like we fucking need a pilot. Yep. We need a pilot. You really don't need a pilot. There's one little bit where you need a pilot, and that shit goes to shit.
Yep.
Rewatched Avengers Infinity War. I fucking love that movie. The more I watch it, the more I like it. I also watched one of my all-time favorite films, Kung Fu Hustle.
Does it hold up?
Yes, 100%. It's never about like good special effects or anything like that. It's goofy. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious. Better than the Transformers. I tried watching Love, Death, and Robots, and man, have I got feelings about it. I like animated things. I like science fiction. I like David Fincher. This should be way up my butthole. Not at all. It is way too far out there for me. I think it's in different order. I think I read that somewhere that Netflix shows it in different order for people, so I don't know if it would be the same order for you guys. It's like 18 anthology shorts, and they're like between 12 to 15 minutes long. The first one I got was this like cybernetic like fighting ring thing where people were like had this cybernetic link with these monsters, and it's pretty fucking gory and dark, but I was like, okay, I'm still on board. The second one was about these robots that are like touring the world, like a major city after humans die, and the plot twist is we gave cats opposable thumbs, and that's how we fucking killed ourselves. I was 100% on board. Then I got to the second one, I was like, oh shit, this is good. I'm in. And then the third one is about this stripper who witnesses a murder, and it's a time loop. She keeps watching. In one, she watches the murder, and in the loop, he then watches the person who watches her, and then she watches him, and then he watches her, and and it just keeps alternating. And I was like, "Fuck, I can't do this. This is just too much."
My head would explode.
It's super gory. It's super graphic. I don't know what it is about like cyberpunk things and like dominatrix shit that they go hand in hand. They go to this weird like dominatrix club, and I'm not that much of a prude, but I am at least this much of a prude where I couldn't keep going with it.
See, I figured that's what it was most good. Everybody is comparing it to Heavy Metal, the comic anthology magazine, and which I have a lot of experience with as a child, because you could buy this and it looked just like another comic book, but there was like tits and decapitations in it. So I knew it was going to lean hard on shock value and stuff like that.
It definitely does. Rewatch Into the Spider-Verse, that movie's fucking excellent. And then I rewatched the Matrix trilogy, and I think I've always come down harder on the sequels than they deserve. They're pretty good. The first one, though, is incredible. I mean,
it's the best one by a long shot.
As much as we rave about, I think there's been really good sci-fi in the last few years, but God, man, that first Matrix movie, as much as people love it, I still don't feel like it gets enough credit. It's really fucking good.
I also rewatched it recently, and it's one of those things where of all the scenes in the movie, there's maybe 5 to 10 minutes of it that is not an iconic scene that has not been reproduced and either mocked or honored somewhere else in subsequent movies. It's literally 10 minutes of the movie, and the rest of it are all iconic scenes that you could recognize.
One thing that I realized how much I loved it, while I was watching, I realized is there's a really very brief moment that I just said 1,000 things to me. When Neo is fighting Morpheus and Mouse first runs into the kitchen, and he's like, Morpheus is fighting Neo, and everyone gets up and climbs over the tables. I'm like, that's such a small moment that perfectly expresses how all of those people feel about both Morpheus and Neo.
Right.
And it, the Wachowskis just, no one else could make it. Their vision is what worked, and it's really great.
I still say that second one, that freeway scene, is my favorite action scene ever. That's my favorite action scene.
I really enjoyed the second one. The second time I watched it, I don't like the architect bit. If the Merovingian were the actual villain...
Oh, no, the Merovingian is way too interesting to be fucking bullshit and nothing.
Yeah.
In the
second
series.
one's a good movie, just that ending is bad.
Nah.
That cliffhanger, I don't think the third one sucks. But the second one is not bad.
I won't go as far as say the third one sucks, because that Dragon Ball Z fight, it's dope.
Yeah.
But you can't see visual things, but Joseph does not agree with it.
I actually prefer the third one to the second one, because I hate the fucking plot point in the second one that the Matrix is the seventh version we're on, and they keep killing Zion.
That's the
I
ending.
didn't like that.
Yep.
I like that when Neo kills Smith in the first one, he creates a duplicate, and that's the ultimate enemy. So to me, 3 is more of a direct sequel to the first one than the second one is. But that's just my opinion.
No, definitely, I think the Merovingian is the most interesting part, and that should have been way more important. Also, the whole, the ghost twins,
that is super cool.
Very cool. And the whole idea that mythology is based on glitches in the Matrix. They have that throwaway line about vampires and werewolves, and it's where the fuck is this? That's a way cooler fucking movie.
I'm with you. They should have the Keymaker and the Merovingian. Make that more of the movie, because I like the Keymaker too.
Well, one thing I in the third one I really liked is when Nairobi's flying the ship. That's a cool ass sequence of her going through those tunnels and stuff. And the dude's like, "Damn, this woman can drive." The whole bit plays real well for me. So,
you guys remember that Saturday Night Live bit where Chris Farley hosted a talk show and he would bring somebody on and say, "Hey, remember that time?"
Yeah.
This kind of just turned into that.
Yeah.
But it's funny that we went so off the rails on the Matrix, because I had fully intended to go off the rails about the Matrix during Roland Emmerich. And now I don't know if I get to.
I think we still can.
Because there's definitely a divergent point for the Matrix in the Roland Emmerich catalog.
That's all I watched.
Fair enough. Did you have anything else?
Well, one thing I was going to ask, because I actually didn't watch a lot of shit in the 2 weeks we were off, but I was going to ask, for your X-Files rewatching, do you celebrate that whole thing, or do you have your own headcanon of where it cuts off?
So I like it up to about season 5 or 6. The last 3 seasons to me go a little off the rails.
I cut off the last season is the season before the movie, and then the movie is the finale, and then I'm done.
I never watched any of the new stuff, which is why I'm rewatching it.
I've watched every bit of that other shit.
Yeah.
But that's just where,
The only one I absolutely skip is the second movie. I won't do
the second movie is one of those things where people asked for a thing and then they gave us that thing and that thing sucked.
It was horrible.
Oh, it should be more like creepy and like the thing and smaller, and then it was like, oh, this is just a 2-hour episode of the show.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else I watched. They put Justice League Action on Hulu. I like that cartoon.
I need to watch that then.
What?
I need to watch that then.
It's really good. I don't know why it's not a success. It's right in this sweet spot of a semi like sort of adulty cartoon, but the sort of silliness of Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
And it should be huge, and the voice acting is great, and for whatever reason, it's not.
I think they have an episode where they have Mark Hamill and the Joker and the Trickster all played by Mark Hamill.
Yeah, he does all the voices he does.
Yeah.
And he plays Mark Hamill in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think that one's up on Hulu yet, but yeah, that's one that exists.
I did also watch the first 10 minutes of Teen Titans Go just so I could get to Nick Cage Superman, and then I stopped after that. All right, Justin, what did you watch?
Yeah. So I traveled this week, so I had a lot of plane movies and just downtime to watch. I watched The Hotel Artemis, which we talked about in our previous episode. I watched Triple Frontier before I left, which we also talked about. I watched a movie called it's a documentary called Three Identical Strangers about triplets who were separated at birth, who reunited and found each other when in like their late teens, early 20s. And that's a fantastic story, but it's also about the like seedy medical experiment that caused them to be separated at birth, where they were like placed in different economic households, like low, medium, and high, to see what happened, and not good things. It's really interesting. If it's on Hulu, I think if you get the chance,
and it's a documentary, it's real.
It's 100% real. It's really fascinating, just because despite the fact that they weren't raised together, they had like so many similar mannerisms and all that kind of stuff.
Who came up with this plot? Like the Duke brothers from Trading Places or something? Like that's a crazy plot.
Yeah,
it sounds like a villain of a TV show.
It was unethical as shit.
Yeah.
Also, it was never an actual published study, so it was for nothing. I also watched on International Women's Day, throwing way back, I watched Period End of Sentence, which is also like a 25-minute documentary about women who get to open their own business where they make sanitary pads in India, which is a big deal because in India, menstruation is so fucking taboo that at least the women in the documentary wouldn't even talk about it to each other. Like, men don't even know what it is. Like it's but a lot of times, like, women will like leave school, they won't have jobs, whatever, because it's an ordeal. And so it's about the women, like, they get to start their own business. They're trying to, like, kind of empower the community. They have kind of like Tupperware parties with other women in the community, explaining to them what they're selling and what it does and all this kind of stuff. It was really interesting. It's worth 25 minutes. I watched the last 2/3 of Inglourious Bastards, which is still my favorite Tarantino movie. Love the fuck out of that movie. The only thing I missed is the first scene, which is my favorite
the best
scene.
part.
But I still got.
What was it on TV? Is that why you missed it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Au revoir, Shoshana.
Yeah. I watched the first 2/3 of Bad Times at the El Royale, which I'm into so far, but I'm going to retain judgment until I finish it.
I'm really interested to hear your opinion.
Yeah,
it's a Tarantino knockoff. I thought it was.
Yeah.
I liked it.
And then,
it was fun.
And then the one I most wanted to talk about is the Steve McQueen movie Widows, which came out earlier it was last year.
Came out like November.
Yeah.
I remember
It was Oscar bait.
And that's what I was really confused about, right? Because Steve McQueen,
I didn't feel like the trailers were, but everyone raved about it.
He's made 3 movies prior to this. He has made one about a hunger strike in an Irish prison, one about sex addiction, and one about slavery in America. And so
he loves strife.
And so when I saw that he was making a movie about a heist movie about like women who are trying to pay off their husbands who are also
it looked
thieves.
like takers.
Yes. I was really confused about it. It just seemed very off brand. And the trailer just made me. It looked boring and too serious. But I had heard a bunch of good things about it, and so I decided to watch it.
Was it boring and too serious?
I feel really vindicated because he's just.
Well, you're the only one that feels that you're vindicated. Everyone still disagrees with you.
What I've realized is that I think the premise of the movie is really good. Granted, so Gillian Flynn wrote this movie. She also wrote like Sharp Objects and Gone Girl. And that makes sense, honestly. But I think the premise of the movie is really good because it should be a fun heist movie where these like women come together, they bond over their lost husbands, and then they kind of like they learn new skills, they empower themselves, and they realize that they're more capable than they might have been beforehand. Especially like one of them is like she was abused by the guy. I don't know. That should be a fun story. Steve McQueen doesn't know what fun is. He has never had fun in any of his other movies, and there is no fun in this movie either.
So do you think this movie would have worked better if it was almost dumb action flick?
Like more Michael Bay.
Here's I just don't think you
more Emily Blunt cocking the shotgun at the end of Quiet
Absolutely.
Place.
And I just feel like a heist movie by its very nature is ridiculous.
Right.
And I feel like there's so much in this movie where he's trying to play it real. You're trying to lean into the grief of these women over their lost spouses, and then there's some real serious shit about entrenched racial classes and politics in America and all this kind of stuff, and none of it has anything to fucking do with the fucking heist of the movie. It's trying to do way too fucking
so it's
much,
heavy-handed,
and it's way too serious. And I just feel like it really suffers because I think it could have been a really memorable movie because the cast is really good.
Besides Liam Neeson's the husband, who are the other husbands?
John Bernthal is one of the other ones,
okay,
and then the other two are people you don't give a fuck about. But the cast is great. Viola Davis is great. Elizabeth Debicki is great. Michelle Rodriguez is in it. Liam Neeson's pretty good. Robert Duvall is in it, and he's really good as he's like.
When is Robert Duvall ever bad?
I know, but
Robert Duvall is my favorite actor.
I know. We can have a whole thing about Lonesome Dove one day.
Is he Deadwood, or am I misremembering something?
No, he actually hates Deadwood.
Oh, that's really funny.
He said that cowboys wouldn't say cocksucker that much.
Oh, that's sad.
Specifically,
yeah, but he plays kind of this embodiment of old money politics who's afraid that the new class of people are trying to take him down, so he's just trying to stomp him back down. And he's great. Because he's semi-senile but not still really angry. Yeah. I really liked him. Colin Farrell's in it. I don't know. It's a great cast. Oh yeah, no, and Brian Tyree Henry and Daniel Kaluuya. And that's the thing. Again, there's the real serious shit about the grief. And then Daniel Kaluuya is a fucking mustache twirling villain. He is outrageously ridiculous, but he's great. He's really fun. It just doesn't know what it wants, and I'm really frustrated because I think it could have been a really good movie.
You know what? You this whole rant, you got me thinking about heist movies in general and why they don't work. And it's everything about a heist movie is supposed to be super realistic, except for the fact the heist fucking work.
Yeah,
right.
A heist would never work in real life.
Right.
So it's not like a superhero movie where you just buy it's all bullshit.
Right.
A heist movie it's all supposed to be real, except we get away with it.
I love heist movies. You guys are
no,
crazy.
I also
Inception?
love...
there's all sorts of heist movies.
Inception's different. Yeah, well, you gotta buy that it's all bullshit in Inception.
I'm saying, but there are good heist movies.
No,
I love heist movies, but
Heat? What about Heat?
Their fantasy every bit as fantastical as fucking...
Yeah. That's what we're saying. I love heist movies also. But
if you embrace that about it, it works better.
Yeah.
But if you try to make it serious...
You're right. That's not the way to take a heist movie.
But, and I just think that Steve McQueen has never had fun in his life, and he doesn't know how to film fun.
He makes real depressing movies.
He makes real depressing movies. So, I still think it's probably better than Transformers, just based on performances and cast alone. But
they're all better than Shia LaBeouf. Well, maybe not Michelle Rodriguez.
But she's not better. She's really bad. But fuck, it could have been such a better movie.
Can you imagine how bad you have to be to get kicked off Lost?
I know, right?
Unless she's talking about fucking family and drinking Coronas of Vin Diesel, she's useless.
Yep, absolutely. So anyway, that was my big one. I really felt like I had strong feelings about Widows.
God, we talked for a long time.
Yes, we did.
Way longer than I thought.
All right, so is that everything?
Yep.
I hope you all enjoyed our mini-sode. I hope some of these recommendations are useful for you and are just a huge waste of your time. Thank you guys for listening. You know all the things. You can reach us at betterthantransformers@gmail.com, realphonies.com. You can also reach us on Facebook and Twitter at realphonies and and on Instagram at real_phonies. Thanks to Zach Evans for art and Brian Velasquez for our theme. We'll see you guys next week.
Later. Have a good one.